This video is for business and learning and development leaders who want to create a superior culture of psychological safety and effective training and confidence with employees. So if anything I say in this video is useful and beneficial to you, please share with whoever. Share it, like, subscribe. Would love to hear comments and questions if you have them. I'm happy to answer the best I can. So number one is most companies fail, to be very direct, fail to train employees properly. That is judged mostly not just by the results, but the number of students who can successfully achieve the results you want. Sadly, too many companies think pairing somebody who knows the skill with somebody who doesn't know the skill, somebody who's new to the company, they say, great, he's awesome at doing this, therefore anybody who trains will be awesome at doing this. Unfortunately, there's an underlying assumption that somebody who knows something well can teach something well, and that's not a great assumption. It's not very accurate, though it could be. And even if they are a naturally talented teacher or trainer, they would still probably benefit from learning more about teaching and training. Some of the most important variables, and as you can tell, this is part one. The most important variables here are establishing psychological safety, so people are willing to risk making mistakes, trying within, obviously, guardrails, you could call them. If there's safety issues, obviously you can't go beyond those, but that's where the trainer needs to be present, at least until the trainee is, or trainees are sort of up to an acceptable level that they can deal with any safety issues. So it's also about giving immediate, honest, constructive feedback, praising genuine effort over results, and praising positive results, but in the context of a frame of growth mindset, rather than you're really good at this. You can tell somebody they're great at it if you want, but do it in the context of your efforts have really paid off. You're doing really well at this. So anytime, if you can do that, and the reason I'm not going to cover because I don't have enough time, but it's based on the growth mindset work of Carol Dweck, and why you praise effort rather than results or talent in particular. So the first thing you need to do is start by establishing a culture of psychological safety. That means at the very beginning, oftentimes I will do it by showing how terrible I am at something outside of the subject. So as a longtime English teacher, I demonstrated just how bad my Japanese is and saying, there you go, mistakes aren't a big deal. So you want to show that mistakes aren't a big deal, but trying is a big deal. And obviously you're striving not to make mistakes, but at least 50% or more of that, that's just a made up percentage, but my genuine opinion is that at least 50% of what drives people to succeed is that they feel safe enough to make a judgment when they're uncertain, knowing that they're not going to be punished if they make a mistake. But to do that, you have to demonstrate, that's the first thing you need to do, is show them they're not going to be punished for their mistakes, but they are expected to try their best. Sounds simple, right? And yet most teachers, even most organizations, most universities don't teach that way. But at the same time, it's really important that you don't deny trainees or students necessary feedback for whether they're for good results or for poor results. They need to know their mistakes, because if they don't, as soon as they're aware of errors or things they need to do differently, the sooner they can correct them. So if you're afraid of hurting their feelings or maintaining their confidence, the confidence will be false and unearned. And in the long term, it will prevent them from being not only better students, but actually better at the skill you want to teach them. And you will give them a lot of time to practice with the mistakes because you haven't corrected them. So you want to correct as soon as you can. Now, some trainers avoid correcting, as I said, and that's, in my opinion, flawed. It's still really actually debated among academics as to whether there's compelling arguments for both sides of immediate feedback versus delayed feedback. But based on my 2 decades approximately of total teaching, 15 years teaching ESL, but at least 5 years of previous teaching in a less formal setting, but for at least 5 years, plus many decades of behavioral research going back to Skinner, I'm in the immediate feedback camp. What's important here is that people do that feedback correctly. And I'll talk about that more in a future video, but really honest, immediate feedback, its timing, how it's delivered, and in the context and culture of psychological safety, which you have to establish at the very beginning. I've told people when they say, is that right? I just go, no. And people go, oh my God, that's too direct. Not if no isn't a dirty word, because you've taught them the same way that, yeah, sometimes it's not correct. And it's totally okay to not be correct. It's only if being correct or saying no or something direct, but not like no, it has to be delivered in the right way. And it can only be done more directly as the psychological safety, as that culture of safety is established. That would not be happening on the first day. In fact, oftentimes I take the entire first day of a training session and make it around psychological safety, building rapport, and getting to know the students. We may not cover any material because it's that important and it's that productive to do that at the beginning. But if you do it wrong, here's the thing. You turn what is, in my experience thus far over the many years I've been doing this, the best training method I'm aware of, the most effective one I've ever seen in a country where people feel tremendous shame about making mistakes in English. And I'm supposedly violating the rules, but getting far superior results to other teachers because I'm willing to do it, but I do it correctly. But if you do it wrong, that best training method turns into a trust, psychological safety, and morale destroying disaster. So you need to do it right. And that's not the only reason I'm going to take more than one video to talk about this. So that's really it for today. Watch tomorrow's video to learn more about how to create that psychological safety, classroom training and culture, delivering immediate feedback to produce the best training results. I have a recommended video for you. I will put it right there and in the description. And that is 3 ways to test your learning. It's directly related to, but not specifically addressing what I will in the next video, which is going into the detail of how to develop that culture and in more depth, and how to actually give that honest feedback in a way that people aren't going to feel punished by giving it. It's just, unfortunately, those are the only paradigms we had. The teacher who slapped you on the knuckles, or the, yay, you got everything wrong, but you're awesome. Neither of those are the most effective. And we now have decades of both, generations of both methods of learning to establish that combined in the right way, honest, direct feedback, psychological safety, and growth mindset produce far superior results and build genuine confidence that the student can then carry into other aspects of their life and other training and other things in the company. So that's it for Crush It Club 150. I can't read this very easily. Earned confidence. My name is Tim B. Green. Bye for now.